दोस्तों ये कहानी मैं सियासत के बारे में थोड़ी सी बात करूँगा एंड देन आई विल टॉक अबाउट व्हाट माय फ्रेंड अफसर मोहम्मद हैज़ स्पोकन अबाउट. You know, siyasat was born out of commitment of Mr. Abid Ali Khan and his close associate and friend Mehboob Hussain Jigar. These two people followed the leftist ideology at that time. Abid Ali Khan came from a Jagirdar family, yet he believed in the values which were emerging out of the communist movement. And he believed that the Muslims need a marham, something to put on after the 1948 trauma. And he and his friend got together. And you will be surprised, though he came from a family of Jagirdars, what he did was he convinced his wife to loan him the ornaments, the zevar which had been given to her or she has owned, and he mortgaged that zevar to some Marwadi and got the little money, and they started the newspaper. They used to deliver the newspaper, both the friends, in the initial state by themselves. It's a story of trying to heal the wounds of 1948, wounds of police action or Operation Polo, as it is known officially in the military records of Indian government. Mehboob Hussain Jigar and Abid Ali Khan Sahab decided to bring out the better things among the Hindus and Muslims of Hyderabad. They said, we have lived here for 400 years, rather more than 400 years, without any major conflict between us. Why can't we live now? That's the question he followed, and that's the question he tried to answer. आप देख रहे हैं कि सियासत is one of the best newspapers in Urdu all over India, and its services are appreciated by every intellectual he goes through it. I am not associated with Siyasat Urdu Daily, but I am now associated with a branch of that newspaper called siyasat.com. I am the consultant editor of siyasat.com, which is in English language. We are for Hyderabad initially, basically, and then we move on to the other parts of Telangana, India, and Middle East, and United Kingdom and United States. So this is our area of operation, and you will be pleased to know that we are among the 70 best online newspapers in India. 70 best, and we don't have much money, and we have not invested lakhs and lakhs of rupees in this. But our approach and the approach of late Zahiruddin Ali Khan, who is a cousin of Mr. Zahid Ali Khan, who is the editor of Siyasat Urdu Daily. It is his brainchild and it is his idea, and he invited me to join him some 4 years ago, and I am with him. He is passed away about a year ago, a sudden death at the age of 62 or 63. His son Asghar Ali Khan is now in charge of siyasat.com. सर, आपने जो बातें कही बहुत इमोशनल हैं, उसमें बहुत सारी बातें ऐसी हैं जो जो बहुत सारे लोगों के ज़ख्मों को ताज़ा करेंगी. They will revive the memories of 1948 and what happened. You know, I am a pro-Telangana person and I have consciously decided to be pro-Telangana. I was not in favor of the United Andhra Pradesh because United Andhra Pradesh had a different history and a different culture, and the dominant culture of the Telugu people who had come or migrated from that side was marginalizing the Hyderabadi culture or the Telangana culture or the voices of the Telangana people. This has not been properly appreciated. So when the movement for this started, I joined it, and joined in the sense that I was not on the streets, but I tried to write about it. I was associated with Times of India there as editor of special affairs. Sir, that's a very painful history which Sir has told us. I will give you a glimpse of the history through my own experiences. My parents lived in a village called Chilkepalli. Chilkepalli is about 80 kilometers from Hyderabad and on the road to Zahirabad or on the road or Bombay Highway. When police action or the news of police action, my father, in fact, my grandmother, my dadi, owned a inam land of about 100 or 200 acres there. My mother, who came from a village Kohir to close to Kohir called Bilalpur, she came and settled down in about 10 kilometers away in Chilkepalli, and she was taking charge of the entire operation, which my father was not able to do. He was in a government service. He was a excise department official at that time, a low level official. My mother described to me that on the day when the rumors thickened that now there will be an assault on the village and the village Hindus will come and kill you, she was very afraid. She has 4 children at that time. She took the 4 children, huddled them, and when the mob came, she left the house with the small things which she had and stayed outside in front of the ground, in front of the house, which was a small house, not a very big house, but with a open space, big open space. My elder brother, my elder sister, and my elder brother, they are all gone now. Mir Ansar Ali Khan was only 2 years old when this thing happened. My mother had him in her arms. She came out and she held him to her bosom. That boy, amazingly, was still on her milk. He used to suckle. And she could not leave him anywhere. That was a small boy. And you know what happened? The knockers, the servants, the Gaudis who used to work for her came to her and said, Amma, leave this place. आप यहाँ से जाइए, आप हमको मत रोकिए. We want to burn it down. If we don't burn it down, the people from other villages who are on the march will come and burn it down. So they were so insistent, she could see the menace in their eyes in spite of their soft talk, Amma, Amma. They did not mean Amma. They did not call her Amma as their mother or the master or the mistress. But no, they wanted to warn her. she left the place. She went outside and she started watching, and she had made a small potli, a small this thing of necessary things. As she went out, they started burning the place. They burnt it down, and when the Selu Pathar, the stone, Shahbad stone, started cracking up and making sounds of bombs exploding, she decided to leave that place. And she had to travel only 10 kilometers, and it took her 10 days to travel from Chilkepalli to another village called Kohir, which was only 10 kilometers, and where it was relatively peaceful, and she took refuge with her children there at her Mamu's place. And Mamu was giving away everything to lots of people at that time. It's a very amazing story which I have heard, and anybody who is a friend of mine on Facebook, or anybody who is not a friend of mine on Facebook, can read it, because it is open to all, and I have written about half a dozen episodes related to this. I was recording history. I am not talking about my mother, my own pain. This is, as Sir said, it's a part of history. One has to know, and from the direct sources, if you know, it is the best thing. Now, look at the turn of events. This is very important. I will not go into the details of my family history because it coincides with what Sir has said. My mother was a very courageous woman. She never cowed down to any fear. So what happened was, about 2 months after this event, she went back with her husband, Mir Waziruddin Ali Khan, who was known as Ishaq Mia, to the village again, 2 months later. And you know what she did? She had the authority and she had the mental power to identify people who had come to assault the house and to loot the house. She said, "Tu leke gayi thi? Tere paas kya hai?" And she went into that area which was known as Dhelwada, because the low caste people lived there, and low caste people were known as Dhels. It is an official word. Now it has become a gali. All right? She went there. She brought out a few bartans, few utensils from their house, collected them, brought to her own house, which were all burned down, and they came back to Hyderabad. And one small anecdote I would like to add to this. When we started our life in Hyderabad, I call it ground zero. हमारे पास खाने के लिए नहीं था, हमारे पास रहने के लिए घर नहीं था. My mother bought a few utensils, मिट्टी के बर्तन, handi, chulha, and these things she bought, and she started living in a rented house, and we began our life like that here in Hyderabad. And Alhamdulillah, things have changed, things are changing, and we have recovered what we had lost. In fact, we have recovered what we had lost in that period. Because of the Hindu support, because of the people of the good Hindus which we knew. My best friend from my locality in Kokatatti, Hussaini Alam, Hyderabad, is Vijaypal. He is a low caste Hindu. His father, Ratnaya, was a friend of my father. And Ratnaya used to read Siyasat daily in the morning. I used to go and sit down with him. I used to call him Bapu. And with Bapu, I learned a lot of things. And his wife was Balamma, and Balamma, I used to call her Amma. This was my upbringing, and this was my upbringing after the police action. And another small thing which I would like to share you, small but very important, that my brother, who died about 4 years ago, Mir Ansar Ali Khan, who was also known as Chote Sahib. You know, when he grew up, what he did? He did not recall the pains or the troubles his parents had gone through to raise him. He went and joined Indian Air Force. This is our culture. This is the Telangana culture. This is the culture I take pride in. We can talk about lots of things which are negative, and we can talk lots of things which are positive. And I am surprised that, as Janab Afsar Sahab has said, कि ये इस तारीख़ को मुकम्मल तौर पर नहीं देखा गया और जिस तरीके से इसको कवर करना चाहिए था नहीं किया गया. I don't know the reasons. In fact, I know the reasons. You see, I was afraid talking about this incident of police action with my family for a very long time. I just started talking about 10 years ago. I said, what the hell? Why am I keeping quiet? Why shouldn't I tell my story? So when I went to a couple of public meetings, I said, this is my story. This is my story. And people liked it. People said, you should write about it. And then on the Facebook, when I wrote about it, my Hindu friends, majority of my Hindu friends said, it's a wonderful story and you should keep on sharing about it or convert into a book later on, whenever it is possible. तो सर, मैं ये अर्ज़ कर रहा था, आप लोगों से ये शेयर कर रहा था कि हम सब के कुछ कहानियाँ हैं, इन कहानियों को कलमबंद करना चाहिए, इन कहानियों को लिखना चाहिए और इन कहानियों को लोगों तक पहुंचाना चाहिए. और आज ये इसलिए ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है कि हम पे एक और हमला हो रहा है, अडवाणी साहब के ट्राइब का हमला, जो हमको अलहदा करना चाहता है, जो पुलिस एक्शन की स्टोरी को बिल्कुल अलग तरीके से पेश करना चाहता है, जो चार मीनार की जो टेम्पल है, वो टेम्पल किसी ज़माने में थी ही नहीं. अब वो टेम्पल अयोध्या बनने जा रही है हैदराबाद का. आप जाके देखिए, आज वो टेम्पल का जो सरकमफ्रेंस है, आप परेशान हो जाएंगे. मैं उसी इलाके का रहने वाला हूँ. एक छोटी सी कोने में एक पत्थर लगा हुआ था, उसको एक पुजारी कभी कभी आके लगा देता था, कुकुम और वगैरह. और आज वो टेम्पल हर बड़ा आने वाला हिंदू लीडर वहाँ जाता है, पहले दर्शन करता है. अमित शाह जी हमारे बहुत बड़े लीडर हैं, हमारे होम मिनिस्टर हैं, वो भी जाते हैं वहाँ पे, और उनको ले जाने वाले भी कुछ लोग मौजूद हैं हैदराबाद में, ताकि कम्युनल एटमॉस्फेयर क्रिएट किया जाए. हैदराबाद का जो 40% मुसलमान है उसको हैबत में लाया जाए, उसको पुश किया जाए और उसको एक तरफ से डराया जाए कि आपको अगर रहना है तो हमारे साथ चलना है, अगर नहीं रहना है तो आप देख लीजिए हम आपका क्या करेंगे. सो ये नैरेटिव में हम जिंदा हैं और ज़िंदा रहेंगे, क्योंकि मैं समझता हूँ कि आज भी हैदराबाद है और हैदराबाद में जो भाईचारगी है वो बहुत कम जगहों पे हिंदुस्तान में आपको देखने को मिलेगी. एक और छोटी बात मैं आपसे कहना चाहूँगा कि ये जो पीरियड है, आपने जो बताया 1946 से 48 या 45 से 48, 3 साल का पीरियड है. इस पीरियड में एक और एलिमेंट है जिसको हम अलग नहीं कर सके. वो पीरियड है आर्म्ड स्ट्रगल का, जिसको हम तेलंगाना आर्म्ड स्ट्रगल कहते हैं, जिसमें कम्युनिस्ट्स आगे थे. वो और रज़ाकार मूवमेंट किस तरीके से ओवरलैप हुआ, उसको अलहदा करने की ज़रूरत है. और रज़ाकारों को कौन कौन लोग एम्प्लॉय करते थे, ये कम्युनिस्टों से बचने के लिए उनको आइडेंटिफाई करना चाहिए, क्योंकि इनको एम्प्लॉय करने वाला वो रेड्डी ज़मींदार था, वो वेल्मा ज़मींदार था और वो ब्राह्मण ज़मींदार था, जो ये रज़ाकारों को हायर करके हिंदुओं पे जुल्म करवाता था. पार्ट ऑफ इट. सर, दे आर लेयर्स एंड लेयर्स ऑफ दिस story, and everything which I am telling you and in front of this audience, I can back it up with evidence. तो मैं आप लोगों का ज़्यादा वक्त नहीं लूँगा, क्योंकि हमारे दोस्त से आप लोग सवालात कीजिए, बात कीजिए। अगर कोई सवाल मुझसे भी करना चाहते हैं तो मैं हाजिर हूँ। थैंक यू सो मच।